Hello everyone, I'm Professor Geek. Welcome back to the channel. And yep, you read the title correctly. I think Batman is dead. Not beyond hope of any resurrection, but he's dead. He's dead in a way that not even Superman is yet. And that might seem shocking to you. You might wonder, what are you talking about, Prof? What are you talking about? There's the Matt Reeves, the Batman coming out. There's the Batman Dying is Easy fan film that just came out and people are flipping out over. There's the Snyder cut that came out on HBO Max. You know, Batman's everywhere. What are you talking about? To which I would say, exactly, exactly, and that's why he's dead. Think about the examples that I just mentioned. Matt Reeves, the Batman. We've got basically trailer park Batman, piecing together his clothes. He's supposed to be a billionaire, right? And he's piecing together his clothes from like a military outlet or something like that, and souping up an old muscle car. You've got very brutal as well. Beginning, but it's beginning. He does not understand yet. He's just beginning out. We've heard that argument before. Look at the Batman Dying is Easy. Black head to toe. I've heard people say, "No, it's gray, man." Well, I don't care that if you've seen the behind the picture pictures, I don't care. In the film, he might as well be black. He's shadowed. He's black from head to toe. Tiny little helmet, angry face, and all that kind of stuff. Doing things that are questionable. Batman would never crush an enemy like that. As I've said, I did a whole review on it. Then you've got the Snyder cut, which don't even get me started. That's just not Batman in any way. He made a couple poses from Frank Miller's Batman, which itself wasn't even Batman. It was an Elseworlds and supposed to be nothing more than that. And you've got all these different tellings of Batman out there. None of them match up. It's not just that there's, I talk a lot about on my channel about how the iconic Batman, you need to stick to the iconic Batman. What is the iconic Batman? And it's not just that there's no iconic Batman anymore. He is someone who's fighting evil and fighting crime and trying to inspire just as much as Superman is, but Batman is doing it in Gotham, which is a far different environment than Metropolis, so he's got to embrace a little bit of the darkness in terms of appearance, not internalizing it all. Batman's not out to punish criminals, he's out to save victims. That's what Batman does. And even save the criminals themselves from themselves sometimes. Now, yes, he uses fear and intimidation to do that. He can be very, very violent in his tactics, but he's not going to kill. He's not going to maim. He's certainly not going to do any of that simply to make himself feel better out of anger. That's not what Batman does. So it's not just that Batman's and that Batman is nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen anymore. Nowhere to be seen. Certainly not in DC Comics, not even in the animated series that we get, or animated films that we get from time to time from people like Bruce Timm, who worked on one of the most iconic, presided over one of the most iconic Batman we had in the Batman animated series. We don't have that magic formula, Paul Dini in there, people who really understand the character. We just don't have that. We don't have people in power who care about it anymore. Everybody in power at DC just wants to throw Scott Snyder at Batman again. And Scott Snyder doesn't know Batman. He makes Terminator Batman, mech suit Batman, change him up, shake things up. That's not Batman. So the iconic Batman's nowhere to be seen. And you might say, well, what you want for Batman isn't anywhere to see. And that doesn't mean that he's still thriving in all these things that we want. Yes, but let's look at those. As I just said, all of the incarnations of Batman now, none of them agree with each other. None of them even agree with each other. We've finally reached the point, and this is all squarely on DC and Warner Brothers' shoulders. There comes the blame for this. They've pushed this idea of different versions. You've heard me talk about that before, to the point at which there's no more any basic primary template to work from. Doesn't even matter. Nothing is sacred anymore when it comes to your Batman version. I receive all kinds of comments, a lot of Snyder bros, a lot of trolls, a lot of people who they happen to like the thing that I'm criticizing or whatever, so they'll troll it, whatever, I delete them, whatever. But I've received a number of comments, ridiculous comments. I'm going to give you an example of one. And, you might think, oh, that's probably just a troll. I don't think so. But even if this one was a troll, I've received, this is just indicative of a number of different kinds of comments, this sentiment that I've received. So I'm going to give you this, shared to the screen here, this video, or this comment that I had the other day, and we'll talk about it. It's mind-boggling. I think I just need to share it, and then we'll take a look at it. This person says, and this was in my response, or my criticism, my review of Batman Dying is Easy, It makes sense that Batman is armored paramilitary in these modern times, right? Incorrect grammar, but just roll with it. Makes sense he's armored paramilitary in these modern times. What's he going to do? I think he means to say race, but he says raise. What's he going to do? Raise up to goons with automatic weapons while he's in his shiny long johns? All right, first of all, let's stop there. That first sentence, or those first two sentences, this implies this really ubiquitous misunderstanding of superheroes in general. People think when it comes to the look of superheroes, we got to modernize them, update them, and the implication is, or what they're trying to imply is that once upon a time, it made sense for Batman and Superman to wear those skin tight kind of costumes and whatnot, because that's what people wore back in the day. You go back into the 20s and 30s, people were just wearing trunks and skin tight uniforms. That's what people wore back in the day. No, it's not. No, it's not. These are coded costumes that the creators knew what they were doing when they put these characters in them. You know who did wear back in the day? The trunks? Strongmen. I've made videos about this. Strongmen wore the trunks. So having trunks tells the audience that your character is a strongman archetype. You know who wears skin tight uniforms? Athletes, acrobats. This would code to the audience and tell them that your character is also very athletic. You can expect a lot of action from them. The point behind a superhero costume is that it isn't something you would see anybody wearing down the street one day. It's something that's eye-catching. This is a visual medium. They don't do that today. Yeah, they do. You don't think strongmen wear trunks? Go look at a pro wrestling, anything, show, any special, any kind of circuit. Those strongmen are wearing trunks. Look at the Olympics. Look at athletes, acrobats. They still wear these skin tight uniforms. It's easier to do their movements in. It's easy. It highlights it. Since it is a visual medium, it highlights it. So this nonsense that we need to be realistic, that those were realistic for their day, but now we need to be realistic for today. And because automatic weapons are a thing, suddenly they have to wear paramilitary armor. Silly argument. Keep going. He's kind of overdue to lose the cape too, because it's the opposite of tactical. Again, this reliance on realism, reality. The cape is kind of silly too. He's got to lose that. It's not tactical. It's not tactical. It's the opposite of tactical. So let's not pay any attention to theatricality. Let's not pay any attention to aesthetics. It's 100%. Story should 100% be about practicality. And if Batman was real in this world, what would he have to wear? Well, then you're not telling a comic book superhero story anymore. You're not. That's something different. I don't even know what that is. It's some bizarre nihilistic drama or something. It's silly. He didn't stop there though. So lose the cape. So Batman should be armored. Lose the cape. Then, and pointy ears aren't scaring anyone. So those can go too. Facial recognition software makes the mask moot unless it has scrambling tech built in. Maybe consider trading the mask in for a helmet. How is that even remotely Batman? How is that even remotely the character you would call Batman anymore? It's not. It's not Batman. It's in any way or shape or form. It's not Batman. And you might say, well, that's just one comment. That's just one comment. That's a little extreme, obviously. It's not just one comment. It's not. Even people's comments who might not take it all the way that far are expressing many of the same sentiments. They're saying, the whole bat thing's not that important anymore. I mean, look what Snyder did to him. Snyder, the only remotely bat thing, anything about the costume is these tiny little nubs. The cape's not even prominent. Might as well not even have the cape in certain scenes. I mean, the Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves Batman. What is that suit about? It's not an isolated incident. People have these very specific ideas, their own personal ideas about who they want Batman to be. People try to accuse me of this all the time. You're just stuck on your own personal. No, it's not anything about my personal belief in who Batman is. It's looking at almost a century worth of stories that stayed true to primarily, for the most part, one iconic version of the character, one iconic core archetype of the character, until it all started with DiDio just forcing it, into this or that and making it darker, grimmer. Nolan took a swing at it. Snyder hit it out of the park with that nonsense. And then you've got to the point where we are now. And then regardless of whether you think he should be brutal, regardless of whether you think a costume should be this way or that way, most people tend to think, just watch what you like and don't watch what you don't like. It's just a version. It's a version. You just like your version and never let other people like their versions. That doesn't work because we get to the point that we are now. There's no real Batman. There's no real Batman. You want to write a Batman story? Sure. Hey, you know what? Billionaire, make him an accountant. That's interesting. That's your version. Go ahead and do that. Oh, cool. Make him a drug dealer. That's your version. Whatever. No big deal. Make the Waynes evil. Make his parents evil. Make them shady and underhanded. Make his father cheating on his mother. It's just a version. It's okay. There's no standard. There's no archetype of the canon of the character to work from anymore. The character's dead. The character is dead. I've said this with characters in general. Batman in particular is one character that needs to die. You might think that's unrealistic as it ever happens because the character's like the name recognition is just so popular. But I think the more that everybody puts out these completely disparate versions of the character, the more oversaturated already people are becoming tired with Batman, tired of the character. It's only a matter of time before hopefully the character will die and stay dead for a long time before he's able to be reborn in a way where people will actually realize what unities of the character actually resonate with people. If you want brutal guy, you want guy who goes out vigilante who kills, that's already there. Go watch The Punisher. You want brutal vigilante who punishes but maybe doesn't kill, go watch Daredevil. Go read Daredevil. It's those characters are out there, but people can't handle that. They're like the ideologues on Twitter who want to take over comics and push like gender deconstruction or something. They can't handle just doing it with the characters that actually involve that. They've got to push their taste onto every character out there. So this is what they've done to Batman. I'll wrap up with this. I even said that I think that Batman's dead in a way that not even Superman is quite yet. Superman's getting there, and he should. My hope for the character is that he will die so that, as I've said before, he can actually be reborn in any kind of iconic way one day because he's on the same path that Batman is. But somehow people are a little more resistant to the idea of Superman being brutalized. Zack Snyder's Henry Cavill Superman has not taken with society in any way. The Snyder Bros will tell you, oh my gosh, I couldn't tell you how many FUs, Cavill rocks, and all this kind of nonsense, troll comments I've gotten. But these are the Snyder Bros, right? This is not the general populace out there. They don't accept Superman as a moody, whiny, angry, angsty, bratty, whatever. And you can't tell me that, but he's going to evolve into the Superman that leads us into the sun. No, that's stupid. You can't do that. You can't evolve into that from a flawed character. The aspirational hero does not need to become the aspirational hero. They simply are or they are not. And if you started out with an origin in which they are not, then you don't become it. It doesn't work. Don't care how many hours Snyder wants to pack on to his stupid Frankenstein atrocity of a film to try and make you believe it. It's not going to work. And the greater populace, greater public consciousness realizes that. I think this is one reason why people are clinging with this desperate hope to the Tyler Hoechlin, CW Superman and Lois. It's not a good show, and it's already betraying, the real Superman. But people are just desperate because they're like, oh, it's because it's kind of sort of it's hinting anyway. As I've said before, you can go watch my review of that when I said it's a trap. But they're trying to lay it out as though, hey, they're really getting back to the roots, guys. It's really good homegrown Superman, America, apple pie, and all of that. It's not. They're already talking about. Lois is already talking about the gender wage gap and all this nonsense, so have fun with that false hope. But the fact that people are so desperate and even willing to be duped by something like CW, Superman, and Lois tells me that there's more of an understanding deep down in the public consciousness of who Superman should be than there is of Batman anymore. There's no Batman. It started a long time ago. Like I said, when Nolan was allowed to go crazy with his Batman films, when Didio was allowed to go psycho with Batman and the entire DC universe in the New 52, and then Snyder just took all of that to the 10th power. There's no such thing as an iconic core template of Batman that anybody works from anymore. It truly is just your version, that version, whatever. So there's no such thing as Batman. There's no such thing as Batman at all. Now, we, of course, the fans who truly understand the iconic Batman and have loved him for so many years and see what he's meant to culture for so long, yeah, he's always going to be Batman to us, of course. but in terms of his longevity and culture, and in order for him to mean what he has traditionally meant to culture, then he has to die. He has to die, let it lie for a while, long enough to eventually be resurrected in the iconic form. And so you don't have any of these chowderheads going around saying, well, what if he was like this? I think he should be a little darker. Well, my Batman is this. Well, my Batman is this. Archetypes are like truth. There's no such thing as your truth and his truth or her truth. Archetypes are archetypes. Now, you can represent them in personalized ways. You can represent them in stylized ways, stylized to this artist, to this director, or whatever. But there are core unities of the character that cannot be betrayed. And one of those unities is you don't have Batman torturing. You don't have Batman doing these silly things. Certainly don't have him killing. But anyway, I'm going to end up repeating myself at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. But thanks for watching. It's a weird time we live in. For those of us who look up to our fictional heroes and want to cling to them, want to argue for their survival. It's a weird time because we're having to say, let them die. Let Star Wars die. Let Batman, let Superman, let that go. Stop it. No one can do anything right with it. Let it lie until it's been long enough for somebody to actually pick it up and do right by it. But that's all for now. I'll be back with more. Until then, keep enjoying and digging deeper into the true iconic hero stories you love. Thanks for watching.